Did the Green Bay Packers make a trade offer to the Dallas Cowboys for Micah Parsons? We have a great Landon Dickerson update, already back at practice today after that knee surgery earlier this week. And Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, who is known to be very cerebral during his playing days, absolutely loves Jalen Hurts. That's all coming up on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr., and in case you missed it earlier today, I did a joint practice reaction as the Eagles kind of got dominated by the Cleveland Browns. Should we be concerned by that? My answer is in that video, in addition to everything that transpired in that practice session today. So be sure to check that video out if you haven't already done so. And let's begin with Micah Parsons. According to a report, the Green Bay Packers have made a trade offer to him. Of course, Micah is looking for that contract extension, which will probably make him the highest paid defensive player in the history of the National Football League. And I don't know what Jerry Jones and his son Stephen Jones are doing. They could have offered Parsons a contract extension last offseason. They would have saved themselves millions and millions of dollars. But by waiting, not only have they added drama to Dallas Cowboys training camp, taking the focus away from football for a first-year head coach in Brian Schottenheimer, but they have irked one of the top defensive playmakers in the game. And it has led to a lot of speculation. Are the Cowboys going to sign Parsons? What is the holdup? Or are they fielding trade calls, and could they deal him away? Because when you think about the financial situation for Dallas, they gave Dak Prescott $60 million per year. That happened last offseason. Made him the highest paid quarterback in the history of the NFL. They also paid CeeDee Lamb. And the last few off seasons, they've been pinching pennies a little bit for a team that has the highest valuation among all NFL teams, all 32 of them. $11 billion is the current valuation for the Dallas Cowboys. And so this report comes from Ricky, otherwise known as Pretty Ricky. And I know a lot of you are going to say, Ricky, really? You're using this report in your show? He has a track record of getting things right and being ahead of the NFL insiders out there like Mike Garafolo, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter. And so he put out this tweet here on this Thursday afternoon, barking rumor. That's because he's got the dog as his profile picture. Even though I don't think he will be traded, the Packers have a very serious trade offer on the table to the Cowboys for Micah Parsons. And here's that track record from Ricky Scoops. Right before the Miami Dolphins traded Jalen Ramsey to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where the Steelers sent Minkah Fitzpatrick to Miami, Pretty Ricky was ahead of the game. This was the night before that trade actually happened. Breaking. Big trade for the Dolphins. Dolphins are trading away an all-pro player. That all-pro player, Jalen Ramsey. And then before the Steelers traded away George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys, it was Slick Rick on the scene again. Big Steelers move coming. And then there was this one. He was on Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh before a lot of other people were on Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh. Rick can confirm Panda Watch will eventually end and that Aaron Rodgers will be signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers shortly before their training camp in July, per sources. Hee. Like that. Little humor, little joke. But he said this in June, and then before training camp, it was Aaron Rodgers signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. As far as the Green Bay Packers here, the team mentioned as offering that blockbuster deal for Micah Parsons, they have been in the market for a pass rusher all offseason. They're one of the teams poking around on Trey Hendrickson. By the way, he hasn't signed his extension with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think the Packers know. They have one of the youngest teams in football. On offense, they're loaded. On defense, they have some really good players. Last year was a disappointment considering what they did the year before. They became a 7 seed who beat the number 2 seeded Dallas Cowboys, nearly knocked off the top seeded San Francisco 49ers, and everybody looked at Green Bay as a team on the rise who going into 2024 was going to be a Super Bowl contender. They had a few issues, though. Couldn't get after the quarterback, couldn't really protect in pass protection. And so this Packers defensive line, I would say it's good, but it's not great. You add Micah Parsons into the equation, and they become a pretty scary defense and scary defensive line, of course. Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, Lucas Van Ness, all a part of that front for Green Bay, and Micah Parsons would fit in seemingly as far as being a scheme fit. And that brings me to this as well. Teams across the entire NFL know to beat a great quarterback, especially a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, you need to be able to generate a pass rush. And Patrick Mahomes has 2 Super Bowl defeats against Tampa Bay and against Philadelphia. He has been under siege. And back in February, the Eagles once again provided everybody with a blueprint of how you beat some of the top quarterbacks in the game. Get after the quarterback and don't let him burn you. The Eagles had 0 blitzes in that Super Bowl 59 game, 26 pressures, 6 sacks, and a pressure percentage of 42.9%. Their defensive line in the playoffs brought it. Everybody upped their game. 92 pressures in 4 games, 15 sacks with a pass rush win rate of 54.4%. Now, other teams trying to follow suit of Howie Roseman's team-building strategy. Of course, how does this impact the Eagles? I know a lot of you are going to say, please just talk about the Eagles. Well, check out the show earlier. 20 minutes, Eagles-Browns joint practice. But I also talk about things that impact Philadelphia, directly or indirectly. First of all, the Eagles play the Dallas Cowboys in the season opener. They have a very tough schedule. It's important to start the season off with the victory. You go down against the Dallas Cowboys, and the Sports Talk Radio call-in lines and the comment section here on Eagles Now, they're going to be going crazy. I mean, A.J. Brown even jokingly said it. We lose that first game against Dallas. I don't think we will. People are going to be saying, fire Nick Sirianni. Unbelievable. And so if Micah Parsons is not on the Dallas Cowboys, that game becomes a lot easier. You also play Dallas twice a year. No Micah Parsons, one of the top defenders in the game on that Cowboys roster, changes that team. If he gets traded to Green Bay, the Packers this year are looked at as contenders. They're top 10 in odds to win Super Bowl 60, and they could be a team in the way of Philadelphia. They acquire Micah Parsons, it changes the outlook of that organization. Before we continue to push forward on today's show, this is Eagles Now. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You see that button down there. Go on, hit it, smash it. Because I'm giving you Eagles shows multiple times per day, every single day year-round. And I think that we do something special here on the program. I hope you agree. And if you do and you haven't subscribed, you ain't alive. Sub for Eagles Dubs. These Eagles Super Bowl shirts, what a deal. I just looked, and there are a lot of sizes available, but they are going quickly. We have sold over 30 of these here on the show, and they're New Orleans-themed. Champions in Mardi Gras beads. Then you have the New Orleans-themed outline around the Lombardi Trophy. They were $40, now on sale for just $18. I failed elementary algebra at Temple University, but I know that's more than 50% off. Chatsports.com/EaglesNola. Chatsports.com/EaglesNola. Get your shirts today. Pretty important and big Landon Dickerson update. Landon Dickerson went down in that Sunday open practice at Lincoln Financial Field. It scared all of us because we were thinking worst case scenario, he could be out for the year. A lot of early reports. Is it an ACL? Is it an Achilles? Well, it's a meniscus injury. He had surgery earlier this week after he got hurt on Sunday, and already he's back at Eagles practice today. He's walking around. He has a knee sleeve on, and he carried a pretty heavy cooler bag of Miller Lights to the Browns offensive lineman. And just like the good old days, in the 1970s, right after practice, these guys cracking a beer on the field. You see Landon Dickerson having a Miller Lite, a couple of Browns offensive linemen sharing a cold one as well. Lane Johnson pictured here as well. Something so nostalgic and football guy about this photo. And I hope that we continue to move in this direction as a society, because this right here is beautiful stuff, and it makes me want to crack a Miller Lite as well. But in all seriousness, the fact that Landon Dickerson, 1, not on crutches, 2, walking around, 3, there's video of him carrying this cooler bag. Like, it is not light. And so the Eagles training staff would never allow him to do that if he wasn't in a spot to do that. Carrying weight, it's kind of like a farmer's carry in a way. It is. And so for him to be doing that this close after getting that knee surgery earlier this week, that is a great sign, because as I'm recording this show, Thursday, August 14th, 3 weeks from tonight, myself and Chip We'll be live here on Eagles Now. A lot of you Eagles fans will be packing Lincoln Financial Field, tailgating in South Philadelphia at the K-Lot. If you're not there, you'll be watching the game either on TV or watching our watch party. And 3 weeks from tonight, it's Eagles Cowboys to open up the 2025 NFL season on September 4th. And Landon Dickerson could have a good chance of playing in that game and being back already by then. All right, we round out with this. Peyton Manning, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, two-time Super Bowl champion, known to have a brilliant mind in between his ears as far as the quarterback position goes, is a big Jalen Hurts fan. And I think what he said is very telling. The non-casual fans and the real ones know that Jalen Hurts possesses a lot of special qualities, and Peyton Manning has taken note of that. Here is the quote. "He's played so well," said the general, "in both of those Super Bowls, but I like the way he goes about it. He calls me a lot and asks me a lot of questions. They actually run a lot of plays that we used to run, Nick Sirianni to Frank Reich to Tom Moore, that sort of coaching chain, and Jalen calls me with very specific questions about certain plays. So he's a student of the game." Here's another example. He squats 600 pounds. He can run over guys. He can throw it a mile. But his appreciation of the cerebral part of the game is what is impressive to me, and how he's taken his game to the next level. And I think the sky is the limit for this guy. Now, Jalen Hurts, for whatever reason, despite him being a great role model, a great leader, a great captain, never getting in any trouble on or off the field, despite him having the ultimate underdog story, a story of perseverance, a story of getting beaten down and then resurrecting, coming back to defy the odds. Usually that is something to root for in a person, but because he's the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, he fields so much hate. So many people out there will say that Jalen Hurts stinks, that he's overrated, that he gets carried. Well, we have now seen from Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, two of the most cerebral quarterbacks of all time, that they are big Jalen Hurts guys. And so the casuals can say whatever they want about Jalen Hurts. They can have their opinions. It's America, freedom of speech. They can say whatever the hell they want. But I'm going to be on the side and the right side of history. And I'm going to side with some great football minds and quarterbacks like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. And that's when you know you're in the right. Be sure to give me a follow on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior. Obviously, I'm always doing long-form shows here, plus plenty of other content and additional content on my social media pages.